Welcome back to the Robbins Business Show. Great to have you back. Come on in and sit a while. We're going to talk about small business. We're going to talk about healthcare issues, for small businesses. Gigantic topic, a lot of complications, difficult, struggle for all business owners, no doubt about it. And essential, you can't duck it. And we're going to discuss it, but this is episode 2 of a pair of episodes on healthcare with our guest, John Foley. We'll introduce him in a second. This is the Robbins Business Show. This show is all about developing your very best business ideas. We are the encouragers and cheerleaders and advice givers and whatever we can do to help small business. And
keep them going.
I'm the co-host, but the other co-host, this is amazing. This guy, now stay seated, but this guy is arousing. He's intoxicating, and he's cordless.
Yes.
Go anywhere, anytime.
I invented the cordless extension cord. That's correct.
And this is Understanding Small Business, and our guest has been for both these episodes, John Foley, VP, Consultant Employee Benefits for Rogers & Gray. And John,
Bill,
welcome back to episode number 2.
Welcome back, John. You never left, but
Thank you very much.
We covered a lot of ground in 2, so we're going to skip to one of your favorite topic, healthcare inflation, the cost of healthcare services. What's on your mind with that slide?
Yeah, so I think a lot of business owners wonder why. Why are my rates so high, and why are they increasing at the rate that they're increasing?
so fast.
Yeah,
That's a question I have.
yeah, and
What's going on?
Yeah, it's so my answer to my clients, to prospective folks that I talk to, healthcare is expensive and it's going up, and I think the technology of healthcare, meaning what we did 30 years ago, we're doing so much more now, and all that is very expensive. Double lung transplants, we weren't doing 30 years ago. We can do them now. Wonderful for that person that is now surviving.
Yeah.
But that costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
And in the first segment, we talked a little bit about our location here in the Massachusetts market, the Cape Cod market. The hospitals are just expensive.
Yeah.
The highest cost in the country. So some of those are the factors that are the cost of inflation of healthcare services.
So is it the highest cost in the country because they have the highest technology? Why
Yes.
is Massachusetts more? Now, in the first show, you mentioned it, and I agree with you. Boston provides some of the truly great healthcare on this planet.
Correct.
Is it really that expensive? I mean,
Yeah, so the difference, and I get that question a lot from folks. So the difference between, let's say, a heart bypass surgery at Mass General versus a heart bypass surgery in Bowling Green, Kentucky, there's a difference in those costs.
Yeah.
I think healthcare in Boston, you're dealing with potentially a Harvard-educated physician who lives in a affluent suburb of Boston, and their salary, and again, I think they're well worth their dollars, but they make more money. And all of that trickles down to charging the consumer a lot more money for those services, which, I could argue whether they are better. Is that bypass surgery better at Mass General than it is in Bowling Green, Kentucky? I don't know.
Yeah.
But the dollars are different for sure.
That's right. Well, as you say, it's also different. Living in Wellesley or Dover is going to cost a lot more than I'm sure than living in a suburb of Bowling Green, Kentucky.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then the other really large factor around healthcare services is the prescription drug issue.
Right.
So again, we're living longer. We're living longer with chronic diseases because of the advances in prescription drug technology.
Sure.
Which again is a wonderful thing, but that also costs money.
Sure.
So prescription drugs are one of the largest influences of the increase in healthcare costs.
So what do you do about, you mentioned something about the difference between mail order prescription versus retail. Is there something you can do there to at least mitigate that cost?
Yeah, so I truly believe in helping small businesses, again, businesses under 50, but this applies to all business. There are certain things that we can do that we can help in the process of controlling healthcare. So you mentioned a mail order drug program, which every single healthcare plan has, versus retail. So retail would be, you go to a CVS pharmacy, you pick up your 30-day supply of your prescription, you pay $15 or $20 for that,
Your copay.
and then every month you go back and you get it. Well, a mail order program, you go and you get that 30-day supply, but now you get a 90-day supply delivered right to your home
Right.
for 2 of those copays.
Right.
So the consumer, the employee, you're saving 1 month every year of,
Sure.
1 month every
Every quarter.
of those prescription
And
drugs.
how about the employer?
And then the employer, they won't see any direct reduction in their healthcare, direct. But at renewal, if you have more people using mail order, then your prescription drug cost to the carrier, say Blue Cross Blue Shield,
Sure.
is reduced. So therefore, your renewal will be less of an increase,
Right.
because the claims that the carrier has paid is less.
Well, I mean, the bricks and mortar, you mentioned CVS, which I find really strange, that there are almost as many CVS's in a square 10-mile area that I can think of as there are Dunkin' Donuts, okay? I mean, really?
I think you're right.
The overhead of those buildings, and I do understand business, I don't understand healthcare. I understand business, I understand finance, I understand marketing, and they are building these locations about every 2 miles, and there's 3 Dunkin' Donuts for every 2 CVS's, and that's a lot of overhead to be carrying, and somebody's got to pick up the tab when you pick up those drugs, whatever it is they're
No doubt
picking
about
up.
it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So again, that's one way that, we like to say you can control the controllables.
Yeah.
And I think part of getting your employees to utilize mail order versus retail is an education or communicating
Exactly,
that
yeah.
to employees, because some employees, quite honestly, don't even know. They
Right.
don't know that they have that option.
Right.
So that's where a good benefit consultant comes in and
Exactly.
says, let's do this one piece to try to reduce the inflationary
Or
cost of
stop
healthcare.
that rapid expansion, at least to the employer end, because you've got half of your employees taking the mail order prescription, and you can negotiate from a
Correct.
stronger point when you go to the renew your policy and
Absolutely.
say, half of my people are, using this, saving you money too.
No doubt about it. Absolutely.
Now, John, you've got what you call a cautionary tale for small business, which is to learn to use care plans wisely. What's your advice there?
Yeah, so that it really factors into the retail versus mail order
order.
pharmacy. So
Right.
that's one way. But also from an employee standpoint, most plans will have a deductible or a large copayment to go to the emergency room.
Sure.
Right? Where now, and I just read an article, urgent care facilities, they've increased by, it was like 700%
Yeah.
over the last 5 years. There's more urgent cares. So that's using your plan wisely. If you need to go to the emergency room, it's an emergency, definitely go to the emergency
Yeah.
room. If you have an earache or your child has an earache, go to urgent care because
Plus they're local, they're easier to get to. They're in a mall someplace.
well, they're more efficient.
Yeah.
Again, and you mentioned CVS. CVS has a minute clinic.
Yeah.
Cape Cod Healthcare has a number of urgent care facilities. But the difference between the two, emergency room, you'll generally go, you'll be there for 5 hours, and it'll cost you a lot more money.
Right.
And will cost your health plan a lot more money. Urgent care, generally you go in, you might be there for an hour, hour and a half. It'll cost you $30 or $50, depending on your plan, and you get the needed services.
Right.
So that's one way to,
with far less overhead for that facility.
correct.
They're not paying any more in rent than the Dunkin' Donuts next door.
Right. Yeah, no doubt about it. And if you go to the emergency room of the hospital, they're open 24/7.
That's right.
The lights are on. And, if you walk into an emergency room, generally there's 30 other people in there.
Yeah.
So they're getting business there where, again, earache, and we have a communication piece that talks about these are the things you should go to the emergency room for, chest pain, etc.
Yeah, serious stuff.
These are the ones that you should really go to an urgent care for
Right.
as a means to not only help the employer's cost of healthcare, but help that employee.
Right.
Because a $150 copay to an emergency room versus a $30 copay to urgent care, I would rather your employee save the $120.
That's right.
So that's one. That's another way to do it.
Right.
The other big one that we talk a lot about with our clients is imaging. You know, MRIs, CAT scans, PET scans. If you go to a hospital for that service, it's a study we looked at had a community hospital charging about $1,200 for an MRI.
Right.
Right. So you have a sore knee, sore shoulder, etc. Versus if you go to a Shields MRI,
Yeah.
or a South
Tom Brady
South
goes.
Coast. That's right. Teddy Bruschi goes there as well.
Yeah.
The cost for that is about, for the same MRI, is about $550, right? So half the cost, because again, the hospital's open 24/7, lights, all that good stuff. Urgent care generally isn't. Standalone imaging
Sure.
facilities aren't open 24/7, but it's the same picture.
Yeah.
So if again, we think about the employer's cost, but also the employee cost. Lots of times those imagings are applicable to the deductible, meaning if you have a $1,000 deductible, that employee is paying that full $1,000 if they go to a hospital to have an MRI. If they go to a freestanding imaging center, they might pay $550.
Right.
I would much rather, and again, this is, I don't want to say it's the fun part of my job, but
Yeah.
if I can help save someone $450 that, you know, maybe live paycheck to
That's
paycheck,
gratifying.
that's a lot of money, right?
That's gratifying.
So that's the service around.
That's right.
You know, and at the end of the day, it's cutting the cost of healthcare. So
Sure.
there are certain things that we can certainly do
Yeah.
to help
If we know.
if we know.
We can do better if we know better.
That's the biggest point.
Right.
So that urgent care versus emergency room visit, we go to the emergency room, we're used to it. I mean,
Absolutely.
over our lifetime. Well, maybe not the young people no more,
Yeah.
but you and I, when we think
Young people,
we've known
you
about
and I?
emergency room.
Oh, you mean not young people? Got it. Okay, I was
Right.
confused there for a second.
And the standalone imaging center, so-called, maybe you find people who don't even know about that.
Correct. So
Say, huh?
part of our job really as the consultant is to help the employer and help the employees through education material, through communication, and really, so to me, our services as consultants, and that should be for anyone, not just Rogers and Gray, doesn't stop after the renewal ends.
Right.
So the renewal's made, the decision is made. I think our process, and we certainly do it at Rogers and Gray, needs to continue throughout the year being part of that education and communication around some of these
It
topics.
is continuous, right?
Yeah.
Because
And you've mentioned the mail order prescription, versus going to the retail store on the corner, that CVS or the Rite Aid or whatever that might be.
Correct.
But the prescription drug, that's a pain. People don't do it because it's a pain in the neck. Yes. It's looked upon as a pain in the neck.
Yeah,
and there's no reward for the individual, it seems, quite frankly.
there's a little bit. They save a little bit of money if they do. If they do mail order versus retail.
Oh, that's right. You
Yeah.
say they pay
But-
2 out of 3, yeah.
But I think it gets back to your point. What are we used to? What are we accustomed to doing? People are accustomed to pulling into CVS or whatever pharmacy, walking in, getting the 30-day supply, and walking out.
And going back when they need 30
And going
days
back
more.
the next one. So 12 times a year, they're going back.
Yeah.
But mail order is more efficient. It saves the employee money, and at the end of the day, saves the employer claim dollars, which could then impact the renewal.
Right.
But it is around communication.
Right. And education.
In education, getting that information in the hands of the employee.
Sure.
And mail order drugs have come a long way. Now it's, I think people had a fear of, the mailman's going to know what my prescription is.
Okay.
It's so you don't even know what is being delivered with so many packages now. It's not uncommon to get
Well,
packages.
don't
at home.
worry too much about what somebody knows about you, because this is 1984 already. They know a lot of stuff about us. I
Big
mean,
Brother is watching.
Big Brother
Right.
is really watching
Yeah.
close. I look at a sandwich, a golf club, not sandwich, and the next thing I know, I'm Googling, Dr. Einstein or whatever, just for information. And right in the middle there is, programmable media buying. They're talking to me about the sandwich I just looked at, or the
yeah.
lawnmower I just looked
you're
at.
right.
And in other words, they're picking all that stuff
You're
up.
being
So
watched.
You're being watched.
We're all being watched, that's for sure.
Exactly.
John, part of your cautionary tale that you're discussing with small business is better preventative care.
Yeah.
That's a big issue with me. Is that of course that idea goes way back to those HMOs, the
Right.
Health Maintenance Organization thing that started decades ago, and I used one at a time. But the concept was keep up with your healthcare issues and see a GP on a regular basis
Regularly, right.
versus wait till it's broke.
And go
Exactly.
fix
Don't
it.
fix it till it's broke.
Yeah.
And then you have can end up with major healthcare impact.
Tens of thousands of
But
dollars.
better preventative care. I'm presuming that you believe in better preventative care.
Absolutely, and the healthcare plans today, really based on the Affordable Care Act, preventative, your routine physical, which I recommend everyone go have a routine physical once a year.
Yeah.
Even the young folks, everyone should
Everybody.
have them done. There's no cost to that.
Right.
So healthcare plans today, so there's no reason, there's no out-of-pocket cost to go and have your routine physical. You should never be charged a copay. It's part of the Affordable Care Act, and every single plan, and doctors' offices know this.
Right.
Every single plan has, because again, it goes back to the point, let's maintain where we're at, but if there is an issue, let's talk about it now before it gets to that large service.
Right.
Which again is just obviously a benefit to the employee.
I have a.
It's also, Coach, it's one of my issues that now I'm talking about the national debate on in magazine articles, in newspaper, on TV, on the radio, on social media, all the communication today is says, well, young people they don't need health care and they don't get sick. It's only the old people. That is complete and total rubbish. But that's part of the national debate, Coach. It's a mistake. Young people get sick too.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Right.
And you say, well, older people are more inclined or more inclined to have a health issue. Yes, that's true, but it's not true that young people have no health care issues.
Absolutely.
True.
Right.
Very true.
I just think those issues shouldn't be broadcast nationally, because then you get an aura of belief in an idea that's totally wrong.
Correct. Absolutely.
So young people need to check up, and they have issues too.
Yeah, they should get a
Also,
full
here's-
physical once a year,
Once a year,
just
that's
to
all.
stay on top of things and catch them before they become,
Correct. Absolutely.
Now that I get a chance on this show to lecture, is another one of my favorite topics.
Here we go.
I want to get
I'm ready.
I want to get John going on this one, which is a more cautionary tale, which is get away from the pill crazy society. We Americans have so many fixes
Yeah.
available on TV, in the magazine, on social media. Fix this, fix that, fix the other.
Take this new pill with this
We
very
are-
clever name.
We're pill crazy.
Yeah, we are.
And John,
I agree completely, and again, that gets back to the conversation around prescription drugs and how prescription drugs are impacting healthcare costs.
Sure.
And I'm not one to tell someone what to do, but I had a client that had they had a wellness program, so they were trying to help their employees get well and
Yeah.
offer some things, and they did a walking program, and over the course of, I think it was 8 weeks, they had challenges within their departments, and this one gentleman, he had wonderful results. He really got into it. It was his own, personal effort. He lost 35 pounds, and not only lost 35 pounds, but was able to lose 2 prescription drugs. So getting healthy, getting off of that, I think it was a cholesterol medication and something
Yeah.
else. But that's what, from a personal effort, personal standpoint, and again, what that does is it saved him money on a monthly basis. He didn't have to buy 2 more prescriptions, but also impacted the healthcare of
It's
that,
going to
of that
help
organization.
impact the healthcare plan of that employer.
And he got healthy. He was
It's amazing what happens when you get healthy. I give a physical every year to keep my pilot's license. You have to have it anyway. And just this recent year, my doctor said, well, your blood pressure's perfect, it's low, it's this, your PCBs and elemental Ps are all right in line, you jerk. My what? You jerk. Why are you trying to ruin a good machine? Lose 35 pounds. So I did.
Yeah. I mean, it's so,
Yeah.
and that really brings us to another point around wellness.
Yeah.
Wellness companies, and again, it gets back to that communication, that education.
That's right.
But companies can have a full-blown wellness program, or they can just have, again, information around, walking 2 miles a day after work impacts your health.
Will
and is a good
impact your
thing.
health, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And, well, as I say, if I say to my physician, which I do, I mean, I personally do this and say, and the physicians are trained by our society to say, do you want a pill or, do you want a medication?
Yeah.
And that's the point where I say, I don't want the pill. I don't want any more pills. I don't like pills. But if you, the physician, if you say you need this medication, I'm gonna go with it.
Well, my doctor.
So I'm asking you, do I have to have this for my health condition? Demand this medication? Yes or no?
And of course, when you're watching the ad on TV, for you blast it, whatever, they got all these clever names, right? If you've had this, or this, it could cause cancer, it could cause you to have a heart attack, and it could cause you to die instantly the minute you take the. I mean, just watching the ads and the tort, I scared you. I said, if I had that condition, thank you God I don't. I ain't taking that darn pill. I mean, you're kidding. It sounds worse than,
I know, it is. And prescription drugs are wonderful. They
are.
They help certain
you
things.
Need them.
But they're very expensive. One
it's scary.
One recently came out that it can cure Hep C, hepatitis C.
Yeah.
So if you're living with hepatitis C, that's a bad diagnosis to have.
Yeah.
A few years ago, they came out with a medication. Developed, I think, in a Boston lab. That it cost, I think it was $32,000 a month to take this Hep C.
A month?
Yep, vaccination. Whoa. You had to take it for 6 months, and then you were cured of hepatitis C. So for the person that has Hep C,
$200,000.
But for the person with Hep C, that's a great.
Especially, but the insurance is picking it up, right?
They're picking up a large part of it.
Yeah, right.
But the employee's picking up some. But again, just prescription drugs are
they're expensive.
Part of our society.
Right.
But I think to your point, as a patient, you should ask questions. You should ask the doctor, do I need this? Do I need this MRI? Do I have to have this MRI somewhere? Or prescription drug? Is this something is there something else I can do instead of taking this prescription drug? So.
That's what I want. I want you to tell employees, look, you got to manage your own situation.
Absolutely.
You scream about healthcare costs going up, but you also demand every CAT scan and every pill and everything else.
You're 40 pounds overweight and you smoke 6 packs of cigarettes a day.
You
aren't helping the situation.
You've trained the medical profession to cater to that.
Right.
Say, oh, well, maybe you ought to get an x-ray. You say, wait a minute,
I
don't want an x-ray. I want the thing.
That's how they make money.
Correct.
Quite frankly, that's how they make money.
And I think employees, again, if they have the appropriate ammunition, if you will, to know to ask these questions, or what questions do I ask? But employees need to be their best advocate.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of interesting. We'll drive past 4 gas stations to save 3 cents a gallon.
Right.
Yet we won't talk to our doctor about certain things around healthcare that could save us $60 a month.
Right.
So again, but it's to our point of being consultants and working not only with the employer but the employees. I view that as our responsibility to get that communication out to those employees and to help them be more educated around that.
Absolutely.
Your last item on your cautionary tales for small business, John, is healthy eating and exercise.
And again, that goes to the point of wellness. It's again, as we talked about Big Brother, I don't view the employer or the owner of that company You're not the big brother of
No.
your employees, and you can't mandate what they do or how they do it, specifically out of work, but also in work. But if we, as the consultant, can help that business owner communicate to folks, you know what, if you change a little bit of your diet, it's going to help your overall health. If
Right.
you exercise more, it's going to help your overall health.
Right.
And if we help your overall health, it's going to help the unsustainable cost of health insurance.
Right.
So again, controlling things that we can control.
Yeah.
Now, even if, in my opinion, even if 10% of any population takes that communication, takes that education, and they run with it, and they become healthy, and they lose some prescriptions,
That'll have an impact.
then that's a win, and it'll have an impact. So, yeah, there's just certain things that small businesses can do
Yeah.
because we have to do something.
Yeah.
If we do nothing and just take it,
It's unsustainable, like you said
it's
in the first
unsustainable,
show.
and it's not going to change.
That's right.
Nothing's going to change unless we put some
Right.
change actions in place.
Right.
John, I hate to say this. I mean, it really hurts me to say, you're going to have to come back. You're killing me.
Right.
But I mean, healthcare is a national issue.
It's a huge problem. One of the things that are constantly on the agenda anytime I meet with a small business person is the healthcare issue, quite frankly.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a difficult situation.
We gotta keep digging at it.
Yeah.
To provide better, quality advice to small business.
Absolutely.
With John's help. So John, I'm gonna be chasing you again.
Yeah. This was fun. I had a great time.
Good.
But this is episode 2 of 2 episodes. Excuse me, with John Foley of Rogers and Gray about the healthcare issue for small business. I told John it's like the old saying, "How do you eat an elephant?" The answer is one spoonful at a time. I mean, you
One
take
bite
it,
at a time.
just
Keep
get
going.
out your spoon
But
and
get
start
started.
working on it. Get
Now.
started.
Now.
But it's gonna take a while.
That's why you should start now.
All the Fox Robbins shows are uploaded to YouTube for your convenience. So go to YouTube, and the search box just type in one single word, Fox Robbins, FOXROBBINS, and go to the library and pick out episodes that are suitable or interesting, that information that you need to know. And we will see you guys next time.